Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a phone conversation between a lady and a salesperson at a computer store. First, you will have some time to look at questions 1 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 10.
Good morning, Computer Solutions.
Oh, hello. My printer's broken and I need to get a new one. Someone gave me your number and I was wondering whether you could help me.
No problem. We stock printers suitable for both home and office.
Well, I'm a student. I just need one for my coursework. How much do they cost?
An inkjet printer will probably be good enough for what you want. It'll do text and pictures. They start at £80 and go up to £250.
Quite a good price range then. I can spend about £150. Can I get a good one for that?
Yes, I'd go for the Trion I-860. It had good reviews and we've had no complaints about it.
The I-860. I'll come in and have a look. What time are you open to?
Normally we close at 5:30, but today being Saturday, it's 8:30.
And where exactly are you?
In Hollow Ridge, 15 Park Lane.
15 Park Lane. Got that.
Before you hear the rest of the recording, you have some time to look at questions.
Is that in the town centre?
Yes, opposite the cinema.
OK. And is it easy to park? If I buy the printer, I'd want to take it home with me today.
No problem. There's a car park quite near, just at the back of the supermarket.
OK. Oh, one more thing. Do you take credit cards?
Cash only, I'm afraid. Will that be all right?
Yes, but I mustn't forget to go to the bank before I come. Oh, by the way, what's your name?
Jack Stanway. That's Stanway. There are 2 Jacks here, so when you ask for me, give my surname too.
OK, I will.
I work in the office, but you need to go to the 3rd floor where the printers are. Just ask for me there and I'll come out and see what I can do to help. See you later.
The 3rd floor. Great. Thanks for your help. Bye.
That is the end of Part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to Part 2.
You will hear from a manager of an engineering company, giving a speech to his new trainees. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jeremy Armstrong, and I'm in charge of your training programme here at Coppersmith Engineering, manufacturers of what we like to think are the world's best diesel engines. I'll start by giving you a very brief background to the company. Right. Now, the founder, John Coppersmith, was born locally in 1910. In 1932, he started making bicycles in a shed at the bottom of his garden. This proved so successful that 2 years later, he rented a small factory unit and set up Coppersmith Engineering. So, we date back to 1934. And since then, we've produced over 10 million engines. As you probably know, the engines we manufacture are not for cars, but for vehicles used in industry and agriculture. In the last few years, we've also made engines that are used to power boats, including police launches and lifeboats. Another fairly new development is that 10 years ago, we set up a joint venture with a Japanese manufacturer, and as a result, we're seeing a big rise in turnover, while keeping production costs steady. Of course, this success gives us great confidence in the future, and so we're currently in the middle of a 5-year plan to improve the buildings we have here. We've just completed a new test facility, and as you were coming in, you probably noticed the site where we're constructing an office block. At present, our desk-based staff are in several buildings, and they're all due to move into the new one in 6 months' time. Oh, and just one more point I'd like to mention. Our goal has always been to achieve top quality in everything we do. So, when we received an award last month from the City Council, naming us Best Employer, we were very proud indeed.
Before you hear the rest of what the manager has to say, you will get some time to look at questions 16 to 20.
OK, now I'll give you an idea of what to expect in the next few days. You'll each be spending today and tomorrow with one of our staff, following him or her around, sitting in on meetings, and generally learning about that particular activity. Now, this is how I've allocated you. Carol, you said in your interview that you're interested in finance, so I've put you with a person who deals with payments to staff. This is the busiest week in the monthly cycle, as all the overtime has to be calculated before payday. Now, Frank, I believe you've already had some training in sales, and you want to look at the process from the other side, so the purchasing section is where you'll start off. You'll be able to find out how we buy goods and services from our suppliers. Next on the list is Philip. You said you hope to work in advertising, so I had arranged for you to work alongside our marketing manager, but I'm afraid she's on sick leave at the moment, so instead you'll be with someone who deals with sales to other countries. As you speak 2 or 3 languages, you should find you can use them. Stephanie, you didn't mention any preference, so I've put you with a warehouse manager. We purchase goods almost every day and have frequent deliveries, so you'll see how we handle all the goods that come in, and not to mention the finished products waiting to be dispatched to customers. And lastly, Min, I understand you've been working in an employment agency and would like to look at the application process from an employer's point of view. We're about to advertise for new training staff to join my section, so you'll be with the person who's responsible for recruiting them. You might have some good ideas for how they should go about it. OK, now, if you'd like to come this way...
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You're going to hear a conversation between Dick and Sue, who are 2 college students. They are talking about the history of flight. First, listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Sue. Wow, this is great. The Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. I'm really looking forward to doing this project on the Wright brothers.
Me too. My dad was an Air Force pilot, always talking about the Wright brothers. If they hadn't invented the airplane, my dad might not have had a job.
OK, let's look at the questionnaire.
Where shall we start?
The stuff on the Wright brothers starts over there. OK, first questions.
First names, Wilbur and Orville. Everyone knows that. Then when and where they were born. Oh, and died.
Let's see. Wilbur, the third son, was born on a farm in Indiana on April the 16th, 1867, and died of typhus in 1912. Pretty young, eh? Oh, and in 1965, he was selected for the Hall of Fame for Great Americans. Make a note of that.
OK. And what about Orville?
Here we are, born in Dayton, Ohio in 1871, died 1948. Doesn't say why or where. We'll find out later. What's next?
What got them interested in flying?
As the conversation continues, please answer questions 26 to 30.
It says here that their dad used to buy them lots of toys, and one was like a helicopter. And it seems that this toy helicopter first got them interested in the idea. Also, they read about this German guy who made himself a pair of large wings and managed to glide. Then they started to read everything they could get their hands on about flying and began building a plane in 1900. Next?
Their first jobs?
They started a printing shop and also a bicycle shop. I guess they both needed some knowledge of mechanics. It helps if you want to make the world's first airplane.
I suppose so. Anything else?
Yeah.
OK, and now the big question. When did they first fly their airplane?
Well, they made a glider and flew it in 1902. But the one that made them famous was, I'll read it to you, the first ever heavier-than-air manned-powered flight in 1903.
Got the exact date there?
No, just the year. We can easily find it later. Hey, but listen to this. Government bureaucrats thought they were crazy and some engineers thought that if two bicycle mechanics could build a successful airplane, they could do it too.
Hey, you write down the answers now. Let me have a read. Here's the day they first tried to fly it. Monday, December the 14th, 1903. They tossed a coin and decided that Wilbur would take the first turn as pilot. And the plane weighed 600 pounds. He started off but turned the rudder too sharply and the left wing hit the hillside. So they repaired it and Orville tried again on Thursday, December the 17th, 1903.
So that was the big day.
Yeah. The flight wasn't much, 12 seconds, 120 feet. I'll read what it says. But it was the first controlled, sustained flight in a heavier-than-air craft, one of the great moments of the century. And on their third flight that day, Wilbur flew 852 feet in 59 seconds.
Okay, time for a coffee.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You're going to hear a talk about ecological functions of forests. You now have some time to read questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to say how happy I am to have this opportunity to address this committee and hopefully contribute to our country's policy in respect to the importation and use of wood and wood products. I will start with a brief introduction to the current situation of the world's forests, and then give you an overview of the various services that forests provide. By services, I mean benefits to people, as well as wildlife. Until recent years, these services have been greatly undervalued. The rate of deforestation worldwide is astounding. The Rainforest Action Network estimated in 1999 that 2.4 acres, that's 1 hectare, about the size of 2 football fields, was being lost not every day or every hour, but every second. An area larger than New York City every day. Or 31 million hectares a year, an area larger than Poland. Despite the efforts of environmental groups and concerned people all over the world, the rate of deforestation has increased in recent years. The results of global deforestation are far-reaching. It means the loss of habitat for numerous species of plants and animals. It is a major factor in the warnings from scientists worldwide that, if mankind does not change how we treat our planet, 50% of species could be extinct by the middle of this century. I am sure you all know what this loss of biodiversity would mean for us humans. The loss of genetic resources would seriously threaten our food security. For example, to maintain resistance to pests and diseases, our major cereal crops, rice, corn, and wheat, need to have genes introduced from wild relatives every few years. And who knows what new medicines we would be losing, especially with the destruction of tropical forests, which, like coral reefs and wetlands, are especially rich in biodiversity. And then there's global warming, a problem that threatens the very existence of civilization, but one which, with the exception of some northern European countries, is not treated with the urgency it deserves. Forests are important carbon sinks, taking in atmospheric carbon dioxide and storing it in their wood and the soil. Moreover, they are mostly destroyed by logging and fire. Burning releases carbon dioxide, and decaying vegetation releases methane into the atmosphere. These are both major greenhouse gases. It is estimated that 1/3 of the increasing levels of carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere come from deforestation. In addition, healthy forests and the soil under them that they protect store water when it rains and slowly release it during dry seasons. Take away the trees and you have floods in the rainy season and drought in the dry season. We have seen more and more of this in recent years in Haiti, Indonesia, China. Look at this year's devastating floods in Bangladesh due to rapid deforestation in the Himalayas and many other countries. I have mentioned protecting the soil. Most of the landslides that killed hundreds of people and destroyed thousands of houses during the hurricane that hit Haiti this year would probably not have happened if virtually all of Haiti's forests had not been cut down for fuel. Another important ecological function of forests is their role in the hydrological cycle. Rain falls. Some of the water moves through the soil to feed streams and rivers. The rest evaporates into the air, providing moisture for clouds and rain hundreds of kilometers downwind. Break this cycle and the people downwind have less rain for agriculture and other uses, and the people downstream face a greater risk of floods. This effect is now seen very clearly in the Amazon, Central Africa, and elsewhere. And we must not forget coral. Coral reefs are essential habitat for countless thousands of fish and other marine species. Over 50% of these important parts, important economically, not just beautiful things to look at, of the marine ecosystem are now damaged. The main reasons are warmer seawater, chemical pollution, and dynamite fishing, but eroded soil from deforested land that runs into the sea is another. Corals need clean water to survive. Without this, they die. So does the marine life that depends on them, and the fishermen end up with no fish and no income. And we must not forget the many millions of people who depend on healthy forests for their living. Many of these people, tribes in the Amazon for example, have lived in harmony with the forests for thousands of years. When their jungle home is destroyed, they all too often end up as marginal people in the slums of big cities. And for us rich people, the forest environment provides us with wonderful opportunities for ecotourism, hiking, camping, bird watching, and other outdoor activities. Before we stop for coffee, I would say just one more thing. Many studies by environmental economists show that the free ecological services provided by a tree in an intact forest, reliable water supply, climate moderation, etc., are worth 20 to several hundred times as much as the wood when it is cut down for timber.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.